This is TWiT.
So, wow. Has anybody purchased any Bored Apes? Wow.
No.
You know, when around the time I started at Protocol, we actually had to come up with a policy around
NFTs?
NFT.
Yeah.
You know, and we had a policy around cryptocurrency and whether you could hold it and disclosures that were needed. But we struggled to figure out with NFTs, like if you have an NFT, like does that give you a financial motivation to promote that group of NFTs or like NFTs in general?
Yeah.
Like what's it, or if it's really unique, then it's just like owning a piece of art doesn't give you a motive to like pump the whole art world, right? Like you just think that your piece of art is nice and worth whatever you paid for it.
Well, tell that to Paris Hilton and Jimmy Fallon. This clip on Twitter from a recent Tonight Show.
I know, I heard. I'm so happy I taught you what they were.
You did. You taught me what's up, and then I bought an ape.
I got an ape too because I saw you on the show with people and you said you got a MoonPay, so I went and I copied you and did the same thing.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
And
this is your
mine.
ape. We debuted.
That's
really cool.
Paris paid. Are you ready?
Shades.
$300,000 for that Bored Ape. Jimmy Fallon's Bored Ape, apparently $216,000 because what you do is you go back through the blockchain, and at the same time as he said, I bought one, there was this transaction for the ape that, he has. So that's $500,000 on, by the way, you don't get the one and only copy of this art. What do you get? You could say, I own it, and you get a URL, and that's it. And it is, I think, if you're going to, maybe I'm cynical, but if you're going to spend $216,000 on that, it's not because you love it so much or that you're so infinitely rich that it's like small change. It's that you hope to sell it on to somebody else for $316,000, right? It's an investment. It's speculation. So then to go on a Tonight Show, by the way, 7 million people have seen that clip on Twitter alone. I don't know how many millions have seen it on the Tonight Show, and say, look, that sounds vaguely unethical. Am I wrong? See, to me, now I don't know. Anybody wants to defend NFTs, please do, or Bitcoin or crypto or Web3. But I am increasingly of the opinion that it's all a scam.
I think you should disclose. Well,
they said they owned it.
Yeah. Speaking of, I do work for my organization, so I'm promoting my organization. I'm publishing a story tomorrow morning, short story, but an interview with Tim O'Reilly, a famous publisher and technologist. He coined the phrase Web 2.0. I think Tim had one of the first commercial websites, and he uses really strong language about NFTs and crypto. We have some video that we'll publish, but I don't know if he uses the word scam, but he references the trading back and forth of NFTs, which is pretty common to boost their value. And he does call it a pyramid scheme, or that it's like a pyramid scheme. He was pretty okay with the technology, the underlying
blockchain's fascinating.
Blockchain, right? But the use of it, look, O'Reilly knows his stuff, and he's a trusted person.
He has, I think he has a blockchain conference. So he has a lot of conferences.
I think
he had a blockchain conference. So he's not against blockchain.
He's not a fool. Yeah,
nor is he a fool. I really liked him a lot.
I don't think he's against crypto or NFTs. I think he is smartly pointing out the behavior around these products. I don't know that I would call an NFT or cryptocurrency actually technology. These are products that come from blockchain technology, but that these products have pretty scam-like behavior around them. And if you go to the very top of, I won't get into the pyramid scheme stuff, but it really, some of the behavior seems to be pretty similar to it.
It did strike me that a lot of people who were buying NFTs early on were people who were very heavily invested in crypto. Now, if you convert your crypto to fiat currency, that generates a transaction that that may or may not get reported to the IRS, but the IRS is definitely going to be interested in. When you convert your crypto to an NFT, not as clear to me that there is a taxable transaction that at least that the IRS can kind of pin down. But I kind of wonder if there is some of that motivation of like, this is basically a way we can get our value out of crypto and, out of a fungible cryptocurrency and into this non-fungible token. There's also a ton of wash trading, basically meaning trading like for like, which when it happens with stocks is pretty suspect. So I think we have to look at that pretty carefully in the NFT market.
Well, and as Dan pointed out, there's evidence now that people are buying their own NFTs to get the price up to kind of stimulate some interest in the NFT.
I think Fortune magazine published a story. It's not my reporting. It's I think Fortune's.
BuzzFeed has discovered the guys behind the board chimps, the BAYC, the Bored Apes Yacht Club, and it's interesting. They've attempted to be pretty anonymous, although they've now confirmed that they are in fact the creators of this. A couple of liberal arts majors, writers, journalists, and they lived in Florida, and they thought, we should do this. They're not even the artists, by the way. They thought they were both in their 30s, met while growing up in Florida, according to BuzzFeed, and both had literary aspirations. They both were interested in crypto, wanted to create some sort of NFT collection, came up with the concept of rich apes living in a swamp clubhouse. So they hired a freelance illustrator to draw them, partnered with 2 engineers as co-founders to execute the collection, and they've been selling them. This is where you get the profit is. They make money not just from the initial sale, because remember, they didn't sell it direct to Jimmy Fallon or to Paris Hilton. Probably somebody bought it and sold it and bought it and sold it, and it eventually got to them. They made $2 million from the initial sales of the NFTs, but they get a 2.5% royalty on all future trades. So every time that NFT is sold, they get 2.5%. So there is some money in this. I don't think they're scammers necessarily. I don't think anybody's a scammer in this exactly, but I think you should consider the source when you hear people pumping up the notions of NFTs or crypto or Web3, because they may have a vested interest in pumping it. Go ahead.
The whole point is we did not know who these 2 co-founders of Bored Ape Yacht Club even were until Katie.
They were anonymous.
Did that great reporting in BuzzFeed to uncover their identities. And she's gotten tons of criticism. People are saying it's doxing.
She's doxed them? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just reporting.
Yeah.
But
no, and it's appropriate because for accountability reasons, I think people should know who this is that's doing this.
There is in the crypto culture this, kind of sort of like in the gaming world, this idea that you have pseudonyms and that you have some semi form of anonymity.
Yeah. Right. I mean, well, that's the whole point of blockchain, isn't it? Is that there's no central authority and everything's recorded in the blockchain, but it's not recorded with your real name. It's recorded with your account number or your pseudonym or whatever it is you're using to identify your holdings.
But someone actually used the blockchain to discover that a big crypto project was being run by someone who had been involved in a previous scam.
Yeah.
And they did all of that, through blockchain analysis.
Well, and that's how people like Mark Cuban defend it in Katie's article, saying, well, look, this is all out in the public because it's in the blockchain. Everybody can inspect the blockchain. And you don't have to know their real name. You know their blockchain reputation. It's an interesting point.
Here's what Tim said, just a short quote. when I hear a lot of people say, oh, there's so much money going into this, it must be valuable and therefore it's going to be successful. I actually have the opposite reaction when there's so much money going into it. And then he quotes the famous Upton Sinclair line, it's hard to convince a man of something when he's invested in it. I'm paraphrasing there, but we'll post the whole video tomorrow. His point was him seeing the first web bubble come and go. The technology, the underlying framework of the internet, of course, was technologically sound, but the products that were built on top of it had so much FUD around them, or so much hype around them that it caused this bubble, and a lot of people got hurt in that bubble. And that's the underlying thing of what Tim is saying, is that the tech is one thing, the hype is another thing, and that if this bubble pops, people could get hurt.
Yeah. I can't wait. I will listen to that or watch that story tomorrow. That sounds really
I look forward to reading that, Dan, because that sort of like jives with my the tech is very interesting as people here. It feels a little hypey. It feels a little, if Paris Hilton is on Jimmy Fallon, like look at this, like that. My spidey sense is tingling a little bit there. Yeah. But I will say it's also interesting to see companies continue to experiment. Like UFC just launched a bunch of NFTs last week or 2 weeks ago. They're very similar to the NBA Top Shot stuff.
Top Shots.
But on the other hand, EA said again a week or two ago that blockchain is not something they're actively pursuing. After the previous quarter, they said they were pursuing. I would like to just fast forward maybe 5 years to see where all this NFT is. This just flavor of the month? Just like every marketer at an org is like, we got to get involved in NFTs because the kids are into it, and it just ends up being nothing. It feels, again, the tech is super cool to me, but it feels like this particular implement, I'm super not impressed with ape pictures on Twitter. I'm sorry, that's not I don't know, even if you have the octagonal, because you pay for Twitter Blue and you've what? No,
I just made an octagonal profile picture and used it, and that's fine. I don't.
But on the other hand, if people if they feel if it does something for them and they feel cool by having that, I also have no problem with that either. But it does feel a little hypey and a little weird, I guess, as it currently exists.
Reed Max, Max Reed is his name. Reed Max is his Substack. Actually did a little digging, and it's kind of interesting, the interrelationships. Jimmy Fallon is represented by CAA, which is, by the way, an investor in OpenSea, which is the #1 NFT marketplace, and also is representing NFT collector 0xB1, who owns NFTs from the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and another CAA client, Ashton Kutcher, also an investor in OpenSea. Kutcher is starring in a Netflix movie with Reese Witherspoon, who owns the World of Women NFTs, who happens to be married to a CAA agent. I think it can get a little bit crazy. In fact, he's got one of those crazy maps that you tie the strings from here to there and everything like that. And I'm sure it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but it is kind of interesting how this, and I have, these things happen in Hollywood and elsewhere in other communities where these trends burn through and everybody's, I got to get one. It just, I feel like maybe people should be cautious. That's all. Just if it's money you don't need, go ahead. But there seems like there might be other things you could do that would be more useful.